Hello and welcome to Spoiler Alert for Avengers Age of Ultron. I'm your host, Tony Polanco, and tonight I'm joined by Gary Swaby.
Hey, what's good, everyone?
Chris Seeley.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Emilio Lopez.
Strings.
Charles Singletary Jr.
Hello, hello.
And of course, Brian Munjoma.
I've been waiting so long for this, it's unbelievable.
Yes, yeah, we all have, man. This is the day we've all waited for, especially Brian. Brian, how many times have you seen the trailer alone? Like, have you counted, or just incalculable at this point?
Funny thing is that when I was writing the review on the Coalition for the movie itself, I actually was watching the trailer as I was writing it. So during the time that I did that alone, 3 times.
Damn. It's crazy, but yeah, man. Age of Ultron. We're gonna change things up a little bit. We kind of slightly just go into, but the quick synopsis is, Tony Stark. He doesn't want the Avengers to go on forever. He wants them to retire at some point. So he's been making plans to, have an artificial intelligence, take over. He was having problems with it. He was working with Bruce Banner, and he kind of finds his solution within Hydra base and stuff, and madness ensues. What I found interesting about this movie was that it's actually the most character-driven movie out of other the Avengers, because think about it. It wasn't like some big overarching scheme. It was just Tony Stark fucked up, his creation went awry, and just bonkers, crazy shit happened. So let's start off with you, Brian. What do you think about the way the whole plot was done?
I thought it was pretty good. It felt very natural, development of the event. They explained most of the stuff pretty well. I still don't get how the twins got the powers yet. That still confounds me, but I just say, hey, space magic, it works.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. actually addressed that in the last episode.
I don't watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Plus, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is tied very closely to the US release date. So even if I was up to date, I would have missed it before watching Ultron.
That's true.
Charles, since you bring it up, let's bring up the whole Inhuman aspect, because the movie didn't really touch on that. So were these two Inhumans or not?
No, they were not.
They're not at all, right?
They were not. They were not Inhumans. They were just normal humans.
You know what they are? They're mutants.
They were human beings, and they were mutated by something.
They were mutated.
Wait,
by something.
don't use the mutant word. They were enhanced. They were enhanced.
No, but they've treated them as 2 humans, the only 2 humans to have survived the many trials that they've been doing with people. And they're starting to experiment on actual powered people and Inhumans now, but Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver were the only 2 to survive.
Because of their hatred for Tony Stark.
Because of their hatred for Tony Stark.
We hate you, Tony. I don't like you.
Going back, let's pull back a little bit. Let's talk about that intro, man. That thing didn't even start off slow. It's just bam, here's everything, and I noticed this movie did a lot of single shots too, and that is, the intro was just like that too. It's everybody was off doing their own thing, then they'll converge to do that one big super pose, then they go off and just kick everybody's ass again. Great.
I think the what Josh Whedon was like, all right, we did that in the last one, right? We did that one thing. Okay, we're gonna just start this shit off with that.
Yeah, and he did it several other times too.
Yeah, I mean there was the other time toward the end too that they did it.
Yeah,
it was great.
Well, I like the balance of action and humor, because there was the scene where Hawkeye got, I guess, Pietro. Can I call him Quicksilver? I don't fucking know.
And then
he gets shot, and then Black Widow's like, can somebody take out the bunker? And then the Hulk just busts through it, and just everyone goes flying, and she's like, okay, thank you. And I don't know. I think my favorite line is still when they were in the jet, and then Thor said something like, "Banner's victims are at the gates of hell," or and, that was a bad. I was laughing I couldn't even hear the rest of that scene because I was laughing so hard.
That part was absolute gold as far as comedy goes, man. I was dying.
Yeah, it actually got funnier too, Chris. He was like, "No, they're wounded at the gates of hell."
Yeah, he's trying to say they're not dead. Some of them fucking dead.
You mentioned gout at one point.
He's like with broken limbs and gout.
But yeah, but it established the fact that they're an actual cohesive unit at this point. Remember, in the other Avengers movie, they were all fighting with each other and stuff. They weren't really like coordinating very well. So this one is like, okay, this is a fighting force. And I love the whole Hydra thing. It's like, sir, the Avengers here. Oh, I take care of them. It's the Avengers.
Yeah, it's like, maybe you didn't hear me, man. Avengers.
That was great. Yeah, Barry Von Strucker was very interesting. He was like, never surrender. All right, we're going to surrender. We're not going to take this shit. It was very interesting. But yeah, that whole scene was great. Tony Stark, I liked the way he came out of his suit. I never saw that before. Like, the suit just stayed in sentry mode and stuff.
Yeah, well, they were establishing that from the last Iron Man film where he had a sentry mode for his suit. So.
Well, I'm glad this time his suits didn't come apart like tissue paper, man. In Iron Man 3,
every time he got hit in that movie, it just went
cool, yeah,
smashed like glass.
Yeah, but that scene was pretty cool because it was like, hey, remember those big floaty monsters? There's one of them right there.
Okay, I had an issue. Do the people of Sokovia just walk around with bottles of high molal acid? Because when that guy threw that thing at the robot, I'm like, what the hell did he hit it with? It's melting.
Yes, I noticed that too.
You know, they obviously didn't like the Avengers right there. Like you saw.
Well,
like,
they didn't like Tony Stark specifically.
There was
bring that like really quickly. How did Hydra get that giant alien monster from New York to Sokovia without anyone noticing anything strange?
I'm like, where the fuck is that from?
I call it super science.
There comes a point in time where like things have to start making sense. Like, okay, you opened up a giant wormhole in space and time. That's cool. It's in New York. That's fine. Sokovia is in Eastern Europe somewhere. How do you transfer that from there to there without noticing?
Okay, I have a theory now that you bring it up. Remember, Hydra was still S.H.I.E.L.D. at that point. S.H.I.E.L.D. took these things away, right? So the Hydra arm of it could have just hidden it away in Sokovia.
Yeah, they were like, no, it doesn't go in that truck, it goes in that truck over there.
Exactly. Very convenient.
But then doesn't no one do like any like stock checking? Like, okay, yeah, we had 6 giant alien monster things, and now we only have 5.
Yeah.
Where is
Hydra covered it up.
Happened to those?
I'm telling you, Hydra covered it up. They're like, oh yeah, it was 6? No, you mean 5. We only had 5 of them. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I can understand they cover up guns and stuff, but it like the giant space whale is pretty hard to like. You can't move that out of New York without the Union. Somebody's got to know where that is.
Hey, you moving this? You moving this and not notifying the Union? Hey, I don't think you should be here. That's what's gonna happen.
No, the space whale's got to go through South Street. Therefore, the Union's got to know.
You can't go up this street. You got to go through South Street. You got to use Union guys to move this.
Okay, so then let's assume that they used the some transportation that was not like earthbound. Let's say like they use like a jet to like crane it up and transport across. But then surely they like have to like do flight patterns or flight restrictions or something.
Well, no, like I said, I don't think it was hidden at that point. Like, I think it was just S.H.I.E.L.D. had it, but it was actually Hydra. And then, you know, after that shit went down, maybe they just hid it afterwards. Or maybe it wasn't hidden at all. Like I said, it was just S.H.I.E.L.D. that got it out of there. You have to assume that.
Hell, Hydra.
You know, and then when they were doing the manifest, hey, we had like 6 of these things. No, we had 5. What are you talking about? We're fine.
I have a question real quick.
What's up?
All right, so did anybody find it strange when, after watching the movie, because in the moment it probably didn't seem strange, but when Scarlet Witch hit Captain America and Moon walked out of the room, like they never used anything remotely like that with her character ever again, like the way that was shot.
That was a real weird cut, like how they.
It was. All right, so I watched the bootleg of the movie before I watched it in theaters.
Hey.
Jesus, Charles.
I watched
What's wrong with you?
Hey, I had to, man. And when that scene happened, I thought the handy cam cut out.
You thought the handy cam cut out?
Yeah, I thought it cut out or something. Like somebody like elbowed the guy and like shook the camera and put it up. And then I saw it again in theaters, and I was like, "What the hell? Like, what's up with that?"
I think, personally, I saw that as a perception thing.
Yeah, that's what Captain America
I don't
saw.
think she actually moved that fast. I think she just, it's like, you know, she kind of fucked with his brain already, so she could look like she's moving really fast when she just kind of stepped away.
Yeah, but like even then, it was still a weird scene because she hit him and then just left. Like, she didn't save Baron or anything. She was just like, bam, peace.
Yeah, she don't give a fuck about Baron Van Strucker anyway. But to quote Maria Hill, she has weird powers, so I'll let that slide. Although I have to admit though, remember the scene later on when they were in the boat tanker, right? She was moving pretty fast, so it was just like just sneaking up on every Avengers. Like, how the fuck you do that? He's like, I have witch powers. I will hypnotize you. You know.
Hawkeye's reaction to that was pretty badass.
I like Bart. He's like, nope, done that.
Like, no, we ain't doing that shit again. Because that was the biggest complaint about the first movie. It's like half the movie he spent under hypnotism or whatever. So yeah, it's like nope, no more of that shit. Hawkeye was a badass, and I like the fact that this movie focused more on him this time around. You know, instead of giving the spotlight to some of the other guys that already had the spotlight. But I want to talk about that Ninja Turtle scene later on. You guys already know what I'm talking about. Ninja Turtles. Chris, I see that smile on your face. Anyway, so after all that shit happens, obviously, we had that cool party, which was Cameo City, by the way. Everybody showed up at that fucking party. You had my man Falcon, you had Don Cheadle show up, like that, and they
I like you didn't even mention it. You're like, it's not Don Cheadle. It's
I say, like, remember last time we saw it, your girlfriend was like Don Cheadle.
Yeah.
But the thing is, that scene was cool because it served as like, hey, this is what's been happening so far. Like, Falcon was like, hey, by the way, like, I'm looking for our missing person. That's obviously Bucky. Fucking War Machine. He's trying to impress people with his stories, and Thor was like, is that it? Really? So yeah, that was cool. But then obviously after the whole, by the way, we got to talk about that scene with the hammer. Fantastic.
Yeah. Oh, we're gonna skip over the Stan Lee cameo.
Huh?
Yes. Which by the way, Stan Lee was playing himself.
That's what it said in the credits.
Stan Lee himself. So that he was actually playing somebody. He wasn't playing somebody else. He was playing himself.
So then, so it's confirmed that he is not Uatu.
No, he's not Uatu.
It is confirmed.
But yeah, no, let's talk about that because that's funny.
About the hammer, though.
Yeah.
Did you see? Everyone tried to lift it and everything, but Captain America was the only one that kind of moved it a little bit. So I think he could be worthy. I don't think he'll wield it in the films, but I think that's a nod at them saying that he's kind of worthy.
Yeah, definitely. I almost feel that also Cap kind of pulled it a little bit too. Like, in other words, he felt it give, and he just kind of fakely slipped out of it.
Yeah, he just like, okay.
I'm good.
The best part for me of that scene, and I'm gonna keep the camera locked on me right now, was Thor's reaction. He was like this the whole time. Like as soon as Captain Regular, he's like. And then he smiles again. That was fantastic. Like, oh shit! I remember a meme about this. It's like that moment when you find out that your mom telling you were special was wrong. You're like, yeah. Oh fuck.
Oh shit.
And then that scene right there actually served the scene later on in the movie because it's like, yeah, you guys are unworthy. And remember when, I'm skipping a little bit here, but remember Vision was trying to convince them that he's a good guy and stuff. They're not buying it. And he's like, bitch, I can flip the hammer too. What's up? So,
yeah, he just gives it to him and is like,
you need this. It's like, what? I remember that the whole theater just went completely just quiet. I was like, oh, like,
yeah, no, in our theater, it was the opposite. Everybody's like, "Oh shit!" Everybody lost their minds, and both times I saw it too, they were like, "Oh shit, this is crazy."
It was more silent confusion in my theater, and I greatly appreciated that.
Oh man, but anyway, going back and during the whole party thing, Bruce Banner and Tony Stark, they had Jarvis work on the whole AI thing because they brought Loki's scepter back, which was a nice throwback to the first movie.
I call that the stick MacGuffin.
The stick MacGuffin.
Because seriously, it's like, how do we fix this? Oh yeah, we just got this thing. It hypnotizes you.
Oh, as I called it, the Staff Ex Machina.
The Staff Ex Machina. Hey, but it was established in the other movies, so whatever.
Yeah,
right?
And even then, it was a Staff Ex Machina. It's like, hey, how can we stop this portal? I accidentally built a way to use Loki's staff against it. I'm like, really? Makes no fucking sense.
And now that you think about what this staff actually does, it really makes no sense. But we'll get into that in a bit, because it's not the space gem. Anyway, So yeah, during that whole thing, Ultron is born, and I like the way he was born. Let's talk about that for a bit, because he was just like, "What's going on? I'm confused. What's happening here?"
Yeah, I really did like that whole darkness scene. Like, I thought that it really like put you in a sense of like what Ultron is feeling at the moment, because like it was all just nothingness, just blank empty space, and then Jarvis just pops up and saying, "Hey, I'm Jarvis, blah blah blah. I'm built for this." And then even as Jarvis was like talking and saying, "Oh yeah, Tony Stark built you," and he's like, who's Tony Stark? I'll do a search on it, and then you see like all these pictures and stuff like that. And I thought that scene was executed like really well.
That's one of my favorite scenes in the movie for sure.
Yeah,
that was great.
It was a good example of showing and not telling.
Yeah.
Yeah, Chris.
Though I liked it when he put the holographic representations of Jarvis, and then he had the one of Ultron. And he asked Banner, "What do you think this is?" Like, you notice how Jarvis was very ordered and he was moving around, and then Ultron's brain is just all this firing shit is like order and chaos. I like that.
Yeah.
That visual is really powerful.
Yeah, that was really good. And then that goes to a line later on. He's like, order and chaos are the same thing. But yeah, the way he was born was great. And I like that because he's like, hey, you were created by Tony Stark. He's like, you mean this guy that's like killing a bunch of people with the weapons? That guy, he made me. I don't know if I like this guy. And then he's just looking up just humanity in general. It's like, I don't know. I'm made for peace.
You guys are a bunch of pieces of shit.
Yeah, so he's like, oh yeah, Jarvis, huh? Okay, let's take you down real quick so I can get to work on here to make peace on Earth and all that. And
criticize how every single robot that's created by mankind turns around and kills or tries to kill mankind.
Yeah,
every single one at some point.
They've come up with the solution.
Except one? Which one's that, Charles?
Except for one, Jarvis.
Jarvis, that's true.
But Jarvis is an AI, not a robot. I specifically said a robot. Because I was being very specific there.
Okay, I
don't know.
Skynet.
Yeah.
Skynet was also an AI, not a robot.
Yeah, I consider Ultron
But they made robots that hated people.
Yes. But yeah, most of the time, if you create artificial intelligence, it's probably going to turn against you. It's going to realize that humans are pieces of shit and try to take everybody out.
As Stephen Hawking would say.
Introspection.
As Stephen Hawking would say, computers will destroy us all.
Yeah, Gary, go ahead, man.
Computers.
What about number 25, man?
20. Oh yeah,
That's
true. Yeah, from Short Circuit, that's true. Yeah, he was good. Johnny 5. He didn't try to kill nobody.
Number Johnny 5.
Android 15, he's a nice guy.
Yeah. Android 16, right? But anyway, so I liked Ultron's introduction, even though he was all fucked up when he came out. He's like you guys are all killers and all that other good jazz and stuff. And Thor takes him out pretty easily. But by that point, he went into the internet because, of course, he's going to go into the internet. Where else is he going to go?
Because Ultron is eternal. Yeah.
No, but even what was like really funny if like he turned around and said, "Yeah, I just read like the YouTube comments. I'm out."
Yeah.
Everyone needs to die now because like YouTube comments are just ridiculously dumb. So
that's what happened. That's remember they cut 30 minutes out of the movie. There was 2 minutes where he just saw YouTube comments and was like, "That's it. I'm taking."
He's like this. I've read YouTube comments and Twitter comments, and I realize humanity must be destroyed.
No, that's where he downloaded into 4chan and we were all doomed. Done.
What is this Rule 34?
That's it. Yeah. That's what he came up with.
How come there's Ultron porn?
Oh man. But his whole thing was like he needs to save humanity. But in his mind, he's like, I probably need to kill them in order to save them. And early on, you notice this, and this is what I love about Ultron, because he doesn't act anything like Ultron from the comics. He acts like an evil Tony Stark, which makes sense because that's who he's basing himself off of. And
I love when he. I love in that. I love that when Andy Serkis or Claw compares him to Tony Stark. He's like, "You want a Tony Stark?" He's like, "What? What did you say? Don't you ever compare me to that guy? I hate that guy."
Yeah. Then he rips his arm. He's like, "Oh, I'm sorry. That'll get better, right?"
Like, I'm so sorry.
My bad.
Yeah, I love that stuff. But the line that's still stuck in my head is like Wanda's like, he's like, "So you want to kill the Avengers?" And he's like, "I want to save the world." But yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Let's talk about that. So we're talking about the tanker scene. Wakanda. We finally get Wakanda in the Marvel universe. Like they say it, like that was a nice introduction. And of course they have to have vibranium because he can't be made out of that other metal that we can't mention in this universe.
Yeah,
Vibranium it
metal?
is. Yeah, that other metal that's really hard. That's very adamant. They can't call it. They can't use that.
It's funny because Cap's shield is also made of that mysterious other metal.
Yeah,
It's a
sure.
combination of both.
Yeah, no, not in the movies though. It's just vibranium.
Yeah, you mean the frisbee, right? That was fucked up.
The big frisbees. He had some good lines, Ultron. That's one of the best lines.
Yeah,
I lovingly call him Sassy Tron because he's so
Yes.
sassy.
so sassy the entire time. So I loved it. And I don't know if any of you watched Blacklist at all with James Spader, but he sounded like the same person basically.
So they just took the Blacklist consciousness, the consciousness of the Blacklist guy, and stuck him into Age of Ultron.
Yeah, and he's still like, I'm sure Spader did some mocap for Ultron as well.
Yeah,
I caught the mannerisms of Spader as well, which was really awesome.
He's all motion captured in that film.
Yeah, he was on set most of the time too. He's like wearing a big rig and all that shit. By the way, I'm thinking about that scene where Andy Serkis was like, he's like, I will not talk to, I only talk to the man in charge. Freaking Ultron throws him across the room. I'm no man. Let's talk.
So then you're telling me that Ultron heard him as he was coming up, decided to punch through the glass, throw him down, fly down, and then say, I am no man.
Remember, he's based on Tony Stark. He has a flair for the dramatic.
But what's weird?
Incredibly dramatic.
It's like, okay, the twins stood there and Andy Serkis is lecturing them on cuttlefish or what his fear is. And he's like, I'm like, motherfucker, earlier you smacked Captain America and Hawkeye and you had no problem with that. You're not slapping this dude? Like, really? You're just standing there getting intimidated by him talking about fish.
Yeah,
So
I did like that.
But hey, in their defense, he did offer them candy.
Yeah, and
Would you like
took
some
him up on
candy?
it. He took him up on it later, which was
But
pretty
he
funny.
did steal the candy.
Like, yeah, I'll take that candy after all. That scene was kind of funny to me because it's like imagine everybody on the base is like, okay, I guess we're gonna listen to the big robot now. Like, what must have been going through their heads? Completely insane. And I like the whole scene where he's like, that cost me a lot. He's like, oh, okay, it's value that. Here you go. Here's your money. It's like, I don't understand why you it's in your money. You're like, okay, take it.
He's like, yeah, I just took it from a bunch of other things.
Yeah, but yeah, anyway, that scene was significant because Scarlet Witch, she did her magic and everybody saw their greatest fears. And Cameo City once again. We saw Peggy Carter in there.
Yep.
Heimdall showed up. The Heimdall scene was cool because if you notice it, you see the Infinity Stones and Vision right there at that part.
Yeah,
of the
they
movie.
do like a quick flash of everything.
All of them. Not all 6 of them.
No, just four.
Just
Just four of them.
Can I speak on that? That is my if I have to choose something as my main gripe with the film, that is my only problem with this movie, is her ability is to show their greatest fear, which with that it would have to be something that you've already seen or something similar to that. And I felt like they took some liberties with Thor to kind of push the plot along.
Well, the Thor one is actually not a liberty. It's Ragnarok, and that would be Thor's biggest fear.
I guess so, and I guess if you tap into the fact that if they go by the lore, that they relive that so they never forget it. But what about Vision in that aspect? Because Vision wouldn't be part of that.
Yeah, no, I know exactly what you're talking about. The Infinity Stones and Vision should not have been in there. So unless
the Infinity Stones is like, as far as long as they could have been. But Vision, though, I was like, not so much. But
yeah, maybe she has some precog powers too. We don't know how this woman's powers work. She's weird.
I also think that could be one of the cutting room floor things, where it's a sequence to combine both. You know what I mean? Like if you remember one of the trailers, there was a mysterious woman that was in that reflecting pool at some point in the trailer. She wasn't there in this. Now, there's that. So
maybe
maybe in an alternate version of the story, you don't get to see the Vision thing. You only get to see the Vision thing later when he goes into that reflecting pool to kind of figure out what's going on.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that is true.
I think that would have made much more sense. It just as it stood, it felt
you're right.
a reach.
Yeah, no, you're right about that. But that was like the most significant vision there. Obviously, your vision. Yeah. But again, it was just a nice excuse to see everybody again. And then obviously that led to the giant scene, which I'm glad we saw this thing in 3 different trailers, and I'm surprised they still kept so much of it in the movie. The Hulk scene where he just...
I told you, Nash. Wait. Nash, I told you.
Oh, what did Nash say, man? He said he...
Did he think it was the whole thing?
He said that they've shown too much and there's nothing left to spoil. I'm like, no, they wouldn't do that because this is a big scene. Like, I know they wouldn't do it because they still hadn't shown Vision at that point. So it's like, there's a lot more going on that they haven't shown yet. They're holding the big cards to the chest, and they did. Oh, that fight scene, Tony.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I know you were loving it. Yeah, because I think the trailers combined showed us a minute. This thing was probably 10 minutes long. Fucking. This was the Hulk Unleashed. Like, he wasn't holding back at all. He was going fucking crazy.
I like that they didn't need to waste time showing Scarlet Witch messing with his brain because that was his worst fear. That's it. Him losing control and going hog wild. That's Banner's worst fear. He was actually living it.
You don't need to see it. By the way, I want to go back on that. That was another reference to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. right there. The training room that Natasha was in. The same thing. From that the girls went through it in Agent Carter. Agent Carter. Yeah, so
the thing is that, of course, it was a little greatly expanded. They had a much nicer looking room in the.
Of course, 50 years passed.
Theirs looked like the one in Agent Carter looked like a friggin' dank basement they were in.
Yeah, well, it was 50 years, right? So I forgot to mention that. So yeah, at the beginning of the movie, we established that when they want the Hulk to calm down, you get Scarlet Witch in there to rub his hands or whatever, and he's fine. She was fucked up at this point. She couldn't do anything, so Hulk was just rampaging, and Tony Stark was the only one that could do anything about it, and he already had contingency plans because this is Tony Stark.
Which they both talk about earlier on.
Yeah, but you don't know what Veronica, yeah. And then you see it.
It's Space Hulkbuster.
Yeah, definitely. What did y'all think about Captain's greatest fear?
You mean of him losing all the people he knew and stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was really good, and it also, I guess, in a way, set him up for later because remember he said like, okay, the guy who went into the ice wanted a stable life. The guy who came out is different. So I think that scene was crucial in establishing that. It's like, everything's gone now. You only have this now. The fight is all you have left.
Yeah, and I can't remember which character said it to him. It may have been Ultron that said it, but they said something about him not being able to exist without a war.
Yeah, it was Ultron who said that.
And I felt like that Vision was kind of playing on that. His fear of not having a conflict to be a part of, basically.
Yeah, because think about it. They were in a ballroom, right? It was supposed to be like a joyous occasion, but there's still a war happening within that very ballroom.
Yeah.
So he can never let it go. That was fantastic. And again, it wasn't hammered into your face. It was a very subtle thing.
Subtle, yeah.
Fantastic. But yeah, let's go back to not so subtle things. That fucking fight. Holy shit. Like, that showed the whole world that, okay, the Hulk is to be feared. And also later on...
I also claim a little bit of... I think that's a little bit silly because, he's kind of busted up some things before. He busted up all of Harlem.
Like that,
he busted up Harlem pretty badly when he was fighting what's-his-face.
Oh,
but people kind of knew that he was trying to, help out. And this one is just for the fuck of it.
I think they probably should have spent a little bit more time with him being a nuisance because as far as what we saw, he wasn't there for very long. And the big complaint that the people would have is Iron Man and him fighting each other destroyed a lot of shit. Yeah. Not so much that they're scared of the Hulk.
I think that's my second favorite thing in the movie was the jackhammer fist and Tony Stark just going, go to sleep, as he just continuously punches him in the face.
Yeah, no, but I like the way it kind of started. It was like he was like, hey, calm down. You're in control. You're Banner, and then he's like, oh shit, no, you're not Banner. Yeah. Hulk throws a fucking car at him, punches it. It's like, oh man. And then
do you guys think that they're gonna reference this in Black Panther because it was in Wakanda?
Was that country Wakanda? Because they just said African coast.
Oh,
Yeah.
In that scene, they did have a lot of South African flags in the background, and that was the South African military police,
Yeah,
like vehicles and outfits. So unless they're implying that Wakanda is close to South Africa,
I think they are going to go that route.
yeah.
Honestly.
I mean,
either that or they just happen to film in South Africa and didn't edit those parts out, and they're saying, "Hey, this is Wakanda," but it looks like South Africa because they're both on the coastline anyway. So
yeah, I mean, I don't know how they're gonna establish Wakanda because I would always imagine Wakanda to be like essentially Metropolis with a jungle around it, like these big, crazy, futuristic cities and stuff. So I don't think this was Wakanda. I think you're right.
I think it was near Wakanda.
I think it was near Wakanda. Yeah.
I don't think it would have made sense within the lore for it to happen in Wakanda because Wakanda would have dealt with the situation themselves.
Yeah, I have a question because I'm
then again, Tony, Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver are not mutants in this incarnation. So
Mutants.
Things have changed.
All right, Brian, I have a question since you two guys, you Africans. Okay, I'm confused. African coast, is that a specific place? Because I'm like, isn't the African coast like the entire continent?
African coast.
Yeah, okay, because it just said African coast. Like, where is that? South, west, east? Like, where is that?
Mysterious African country we will not name yet.
I think it's safe to say South Africa, But anyway, yeah, they tore that place up, man. But that was fun. And I also like the scene where he punched Hulk's teeth out. He's like, I'm sorry.
It was like the best part because like the Hulk just turns around and is like, oh, the Hulk is mad now. So now you have a mad Hulk.
Yeah, and he was already mad.
The best thing ever. I know. It's like, oh, you made the Hulk mad. Like, oh, that was good.
Yeah, I really like the scene with the elevator. It's like he's like, okay, everybody get out, and then he uses the elevator to hit the Hulk.
Oh no, it was like the scene before that where like, the guys just like stopped there, like on the same floor, and the guys just there, just pressing the button, like.
The button,
It's that level of comedy that you don't get in DC films, and I'm sorry, DC fans, but it's true. You don't get that level of just like it's not highbrow comedy, but also it's not lowbrow. It's just it's stuff that's funny enough that it makes you like not forget the situation, but makes you feel like a bit. It like brings you down a little bit, but just enough so that the next scene can bring you back up again. It's that high low combo that DC or that Marvel does so well. And at this point, I think that they've almost perfected that formula.
Or Josh Whedon.
Well, no, Marvel has it
the Galaxy as well.
Yeah, it's like, come on, you had freaking Peter Quill dancing in front of Ronan the Accuser, and then the scene got heavy after that. It's like, okay, they have a balance here, they work it. But yeah, that whole Hulk scene obviously was a setup for what would happen at the end of the movie. Because remember, okay, we could get right into it. After that, madness happened. Like Maria was like, okay, you guys may need to lay low. Don't be seen. And Hawkeye's like, okay, we're gonna go to the safe house, and you find out he's been married the entire time, which is really interesting. And
it's also new for the character. I don't think the character ever had anything like that.
Not really.
He dated like Mockingbird and stuff.
Yeah. But yeah, it was funny. Tony Stark's like, that's an agent, right? And those are little agents.
His children.
It's like, I'm sorry, we had no idea you existed. Yeah,
I appreciate that approach for him. Because as an agent, it makes more sense for his character to be like that. And I love that they kind of separated him from the group in a way.
Yeah.
But he lives a very, very different life than from those guys. And I appreciate what they did with Hawkeye throughout the entire movie.
It turned him into the heart of the little bit of the heart of the team. So essentially it's like, despite the odds, Hawkeye is the regular, well, other than Black Widow, he is the regular guy. He's got a lot to kind of fight for,
Yeah.
He's probably he's more normal than Black Widow because she was kind of like brainwashed.
Black Widow's a super spy. He is officially he is a super spy as well too.
No, remember she was broken and all that other stuff.
Yeah, I mean, she was also like a sleeper agent. Him on the other hand, he's an American. He does his job. So I'm glad that he also, even when one of the other characters, when Scarlet Witch was like, I can do it, he was like, listen, I'm doing this shit. I'm going out there and I'm gonna work my ass off.
with a bow and arrow.
How much sense does that make to you?
Yeah, that was great. That's when I was like, okay, we're in a floating city. There's robots everywhere. I got a bow and arrow. Then this shit makes any sense. But anyway, as soon as the scene started with the farm, I turned to Manny. I'm like, hey, this is Ninja Turtles. Remember the first Ninja Turtles movie? Oh, I got all that crazy shit that went to the farm to calm things down.
Yeah,
but
and they also probably need to save on special effects budget because like literally the first half of that film, everything was exploding. There was like 100 CG things everywhere. So it's like, all right, cool. We don't need no CG right now. We just have that Quinjet hide behind some trees, and then we just have some normal human interaction.
And then, of course, you had to have the obligatory Nick Fury coming out of the shadows.
Yes.
Yeah, I've been hiding here waiting for you all this time because I knew you niggas was coming.
Oh man, yeah, pretty much. But before we get to Nick Fury, I want to scale back a little bit because I found there was one very interesting scene. It was just like a little bit of a line that I'm pretty sure you guys caught about Hawkeye. I still think he has some insecurities about being on the team because remember, like his wife, she was like, she said something. He's like, oh, you don't think I belong with them? And she's like, no, they need you. So I think in his mind, he still feels a little insecure sometimes. Which
I mean, because he is the one guy in there who's not like. Other than his amazing ability to have, amazing targeting ability, his.
Yeah, when she showed off in his own house, remember they were playing darts and stuff, and he just goes.
Other than his amazing targeting ability, I think he, it's like, dude, I'm kind of out of my league, but not really.
Yeah, I think he's done. I think so. I think ultimately that's what it meant, is that. That's not his place anymore. Not like he could probably just continue being a normal agent, but as an Avenger, that's not his life.
Yeah, but the thing is,
characters now, it's like he's gonna take a back seat in the next movies because there's gonna be so many characters to focus on. Like there'll be no time for Hawkeye.
Yeah, and he's like it's not his fight. It's gotten past him at this point.
Yeah, I mean, you can see that by the end of the movie, too. He was already tired of it. He's like, I'm just going to take a little break. But at the same time, he was the guy who was more or less keeping things together because she pointed out, I was like, look at all these gods. They're a mess. They need you. But, yeah, that whole scene was also another little scene before we get to the Nick Fury scene. I love how Tony Stark and Captain America were talking and stuff. And this dude just rips the fucking shit by himself, the piece of wood. It's like, damn. Really? And then he was like, "Don't take from my pile." He got his little itty bitty pile and stuff.
Also, like the Cap was like, and he's like, of course I have a dark side. You just haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, that's why he couldn't lift up the hammer all the way, right?
That's true.
Throughout that whole scene, was anyone else get like a preview to like Civil War vibe?
Oh, absolutely.
That scene and in the scene afterwards when the Vision was finally being created, I was like, "Hey, this is Civil War right now. They're all fighting each other. This is crazy."
Yeah.
But anyway,
They've been setting that up since the first Avengers that Cap and Stark have been at odds.
Yeah. Yeah, it's always been there. But anyway, so yeah, I'm like Nick Fury. I guess do you think Hawkeye told him in advance? I doubt he was in the farm the entire time.
No. I think that was.
Yeah, Hawkeye told him.
Yeah.
Certain.
Yeah, because obviously they've been in communication the entire time, and he shows up, which was another good cameo, and they set everything up for the end of the movie and all that.
Yeah, that's a hell of a gamble if he's just gonna sit in this freaking garage playing Crush on his phone, just hoping that one of them happens to go in there for a minute.
No, he was just saying he was hoping Tony Stark walked in there so he could just drop that "Don't bring the tractor to lifeline." He's like, "Came up with this moment."
I've been waiting to use that shit all day.
He's like, "Barton, tell your wife to get Stark in here somehow."
I gotta joke out.
I gotta talk to this fool.
Like, I got something to say. Okay, I want to go back to the Banner and Black Widow scene in there. The thing I was thinking about the whole time, I'm like, what happened to Betty? Like, you're in love with this woman now. What happened to Betty? Like, is she just gone now?
She went to be in Armageddon too. That's what happened to her.
Yeah.
So, can you say that I called it? That those two had a thing from the first trailer that's shown back.
Yeah, you could tell. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's
I
definitely think it's an interesting change for the characters, and also gave them something to do. Other than that, like, okay, yes, we know Banner's, going through some stuff, goes through stuff.
Yes.
So
It's
good.
mildly.
It's good, and it also gave you a chance to kind of get to know Black Widow as a character more. Even though we've seen her in many films, we've never actually gotten to sit down and get to know the character. Like
this was more like Natasha more than Black Widow. Like all those films were just being like, hey, this is Black Widow, but now we finally go, hey, this is Natasha.
Yeah, and I find it funny how it's oblivious to Bruce Banner, because remember at the party, Steve was like, hey, this is nice. I'm happy for you. He's like, what are you talking about? It's like, dude, she's opening up to you. Like, he's like, oh, she's just flirting. He's like, this. No, I've seen her flirt. This is totally different. He's like, what do you mean you've seen her flirt?
He's like, you should have watched Winter Soldier, dude.
Yeah. And then later on, Hawkeye's wife, she was like, oh, how long has that been going on? He's like, what are you talking about? Like, what's been going on? She's like, oh, you're cute, Hawkeye. But that scene, went to show, how Bruce Banner, he feels he can never have anything normal and stuff because he turns into the Hulk, and she's like, hey, why don't you trust me? And he's like, it's not about you. I don't trust myself. And then what happened prior to that in Africa, he was like, no, not happening. But yeah, you're right. We got to know Natasha. It wasn't Black Widow, kicking ass and all that stuff. So it was good to see that. The whole scene was, the whole thing was like a good way of humanizing the characters because they are these like gods and stuff. But
I think also what was interesting about this one is that you'd actually got to take the time to get to know them a little more. I mean, some of the guys didn't have the a lot of the characters, unlike with the exception of Thor, Stark, and Cap, have had their own films. So it was time to kind of get to know those guys a little bit better.
Yeah, give them a moment in the sun.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that we had the birth. Let's talk about him. The birth of the Vision, which I thought was fucking great. That was fantastic. Charles, you and I were talking about the Vision before, the way he moved and all that stuff when he debuted. I thought that was great. And also like after okay, let's go back a little bit because that's where you saw, like I said, that's where I was like, oh, we're getting a little bit of a civil war here because Tony Stark again, he's like, hey, you know how I created that evil AI that tried to kill us? I'm going to create another AI now. It's like, dude, really? You're going to do this shit again? Even Scarlet Witch was like, you know he's going to do this again, right? You shouldn't give him this. But it was ultimately Thor that was the tiebreaker because it was like, no, we're not going to do this. And he's like, Frankenstein, here's electricity, give you life vision. And that's go ahead, Chris.
Also, South Park was right, and apparently all of the internet is centralized in Oslo.
Oh, it is? Yeah.
I was like, wait, what? It's like the whole internet goes through Oslo, Norway. I'm like, it does? Okay.
It does now, right? Yeah, but the thing I find fun, like after Vision looks outside and he puts like his clothes on, he looks at Thor. And then he gets
like, hey, it's kind of cool. I want one of those.
Like, I want one of those. He just looks at him.
That was pretty awesome.
And then, Vision tries to explain himself. He's like, no, I'm actually, trying to, fight against Ultron. I don't want to kill him, but he's trying to kill humanity, so he has to go. And then, go ahead.
It was like it was kind of not even explaining himself because he was questioning everything he was saying as he was saying it.
That is true. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, it was similar to Ultron when when he was talking to Jarvis before. So it was interesting to have that dynamic of the Vision where he doesn't know what he is. He just knows that he cares for things, living things. And also, Paul Bettany did a fantastic job for the short amount of time that we got to see him on screen. It was his mannerisms and just how he carried himself, and we'd already heard his voice plenty of times, so we were used to that. But he did a fantastic job as Vision.
Yeah,
I like that he was like a.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I like that he was a hidden Avenger kind of thing because he was Jarvis in all the movies, and then now
that is true.
A full body.
Yeah, of all the liberties that have been taken as far as changing origins, I think the Visions is the best. Like having it where it's Jarvis's AI implanted into him, I think that is awesome. I love how that worked out.
They didn't say that was Jarvis, because Vision even said that he's not Jarvis and he's not Vision. No, he's not Jarvis and he's not Ultron.
Well, I think that's more so because it's Jarvis combined with the Mind Gem too.
Yeah,
that makes it a
exactly.
different
And
thing.
also, again, I've watched this so many times I can remember. Ultron uploaded 77% of himself into the Vision. So even if you say that it is Jarvis, it's not fully Jarvis. It's mostly Ultron's protocol. But then again, that just goes to show that Order and Chaos are pretty much one and the same, just different top hat, essentially.
Yeah, I guess the perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah, but again, yeah, go ahead.
Can I just point out that it even annoys me to say this, but I really don't like how they explained why Vision sounds like Jarvis. They said that he has some of Jarvis's protocols and that was it. That whole line explained why he sounded like Jarvis. I'm like, okay, yeah, it makes sense, but still, I don't like it.
The weird thing is, like, they could have just plainly said it was Jarvis because he doesn't use Jarvis anymore after that. Like, y'all do notice that he has a different AI called.
Yeah, he has an AI called Friday.
Yeah, like, why not just explicitly say all of Jarvis's assets are now inside Vision?
Yeah, I agree with that. Oh, by the way, there was a little nod to comic book fans there when he picked up the program for Friday. In the back, you saw one for Jocasta, which I thought was very nice.
I did not notice that.
Yeah, like somebody put a screenshot like, oh shit, Jocasta, very nice. But again, because they were still on the fence, like, is this guy good? He's Ultron, then he picks up the hammer, and that kind of settles it right there. Even Thor was like, okay, he doesn't even question him at that point. I thought it was really cool, and then obviously that leads to the whole big super fight at the end. And here's the thing I want to bring up before anything. Going back to Brian, what you were saying about how these movies are different than DC. They spent most of the time rescuing people.
Yes.
That's what you're supposed to be doing if you're superheroes.
I mean, even in the
Superman.
even in the first Avengers film.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, had to focus on Charles right there. In the first Avengers movie, what they tried to do, they were,
That's what they were doing. And like he literally, Captain America rallied the police officers and said, "Hey, there's something big coming. You guys go over there. You guys go over there.
Yeah. They had a really, really good team dynamic.
This was my biggest fight because I feel like at this point in the movie, the whole build-up of Ultron was kind of undersold because, like, the Avengers, they were such a strong team by this point that Ultron really wasn't a physical threat anymore. Like, he was just getting beat around the whole city pretty much.
He wasn't a threat to the Avengers. He was more a threat to the planet if his plan would have worked.
Yes.
Yeah.
Go ahead, man. What
It just seemed really
I was going to say that too.
Yeah, no, he definitely did. I mean, even to a point where they beat the shit out of him, and he had to go into a jet with a gun on it because he couldn't, do anything anymore.
He was also he could have also he also could have just escaped, but no, he had to go back and start shooting them up. Like,
he's mad.
Like, he's even laughing at them. He's like, "Whoops."
Well, he was mad. He don't like him. He don't like the Avengers. Oh, yeah, by the way, I almost forgot that scene in not Hong Kong, Seoul, Korea was really cool. A lot of good stunts there with the bikes and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yes, really nice. Yes, that was a really good fight.
Yeah, and then obviously, go ahead, Brian.
Excuse me. Can we just take like a moment to appreciate that they're finally showing us like the night nurses in Marvel after so long? These mysterious people that healed like the super heroes. We finally see one.
Oh yeah,
one.
Cho,
that's
right?
Like, happy about that. Yeah. I'm like, finally a night nurse. Like finally you can explain how these guys somehow like recover from the injuries from nowhere.
You've seen Daredevil, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah, that's why you mentioned that. Oh, by the way, here's the theory right now about Cho. Supposedly, she is like a older female version of Amadeus Cho from the comics. That's the working theory now. That she is filling in that void.
I
have no problem with that. I have no problem with that at all.
Well, I don't like Amadeus Cho's character in the comic.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, he's an annoying kid. So I like her. By the way, I love the fact that she was like, oh, I'm busy. I can't really go to a party. Is Thor gonna be there? Little crush on him and stuff. So yeah, you're right. We need these kind of characters. And by the way, they also mentioned, what was it, the Stark relief effort? Because they were like, hey, Africa's fucked up.
Cleaning up. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm blanking on the name. What's the name of the actual
the Iron something? I was about to say the Iron.
The Iron Legion?
Well, the Iron Legion is they do that too. I guess they kind of establish force, but it's. I'm forgetting the name now. What's the name of the group in the comics actually cleans up after superhero fights? There's a name for them, but I'm blanking on them. But
Sweep.
What's it? Sweep? I forget their names. But anyway, I'll look
the
it up.
sword and shield. So I'm guessing that broom would be one.
We are the broom.
I forget, but they do have that because you're right. It's like all these superhero battles happening all over the place. Somebody needs to clean this shit up. But anyway, so yeah, they spent the entire time, most of the time, saving people, which led to some really cool stunts and stuff. Like that one woman fell off. Like Captain America, I'm pretty sure he could have lifted an entire car up if he wanted to, but the bumper broke off and stuff. Mm-hmm. And then he grabs her and he starts like jumping with one hand. It's like, damn, dude, really? What the fuck? That's like.
Oh yeah. That woman's dead. The sheer amount of force that she got thrown by Thor, she's dead. Like her arm is ripped off. I'm sorry. I see that scene. I'm like, okay, I can give you the flying robots. I can give you this hole in space time, but that scene, no, I can't give you that. Like her arm will be ripped off. I'm sorry.
I saw something about that before. Like every time Lois Lane falls off a building and Superman flies in to grab her, it's like that should kill her. Like that should kill her instantly. That's not how physics work.
Yeah, well, you can't just go from a maximum velocity fall to an instant stop. What would have to happen is that he'd have to gradually slow her down before that.
Because the sheer force needed to push her up at that fast against gravity, it would rip her arm off. Like seriously, rip her arm off. But yeah, that's just me. No.
Yeah, no, you're right though, but it's one of those things like, okay, fuck it, just go with it.
I did like the guy that came out of Thor's one and he was throwing up all over the place. I'm like, yeah, that's very funny.
Should we talk about the big death scene, or you want to save that for a little bit later?
If we are, then we talk about his scenes and whether or not he's better than the other Quicksilver.
Should we do that? Because he's different. He's very different. Than the other one. The other one was more of an asshole, which is more in line of the comic books, actually. This one was an asshole.
Yeah, let's go for it.
Yeah, let's talk about Quicksilver. I don't know. I can't really compare. They're very different characters, even though they're the same character. They don't act the same, even their powers.
No.
Yeah.
Which one did you like more? The Avengers portrayal of him or the other one?
Okay, you know what? I like the way he was portrayed in X-Men better, but I like the way he used his powers more in this one because you saw more of it. Like in X-Men, you only had that one scene. That was pretty much it. In this one, you saw more of it. Charles, I see your head.
But that one scene was amazing, though.
That one scene is the best speedster display of power ever.
Oh, it was, but it's just one scene. This one, you got to see more of it, which was I appreciated.
Yeah, I felt that Age of Ultron gave us scenes similar to that, but not as good, but more often and more of them. So on that basis alone, I say that Age of Ultron did Quicksilver portrayal better because we got to see a lot more of what it's like to be him. And of course, there was that scene in Wakanda where he grabbed the hammer. There was the scene where Captain.
That was great.
Oh, that was awesome.
And then there was part where he disconnected Vision's cooling tubes. And then Hawkeye shot up to the floor, and then there's that. And then I generally felt that he had a lot more to say, and he was a lot more comical, and he just felt like an all-round better person.
Yeah.
As a developed character, I did like the Marvel one, or the Avengers one more.
And plus, I have a thing for blue, neon streaks, so...
Yeah, I'll say he was a better character in these movies. I prefer this one to the slacker version in X-Men.
Either way, it's also great. Yeah.
But yeah, no, but that scene in X-Men is hard to top. It's fucking amazing. But you saw more.
I applaud them for not trying to replicate that.
Yes. Definitely. But I like the way he was. Like I said, he's the Quicksilver you could actually want to hang out with. He seems like a cool guy. Quicksilver in the comics, he's like a jerk. He's a fucking asshole.
And then there's that one scene where he goes onto the police station. He says, "Oh, there's citizen attack. Get everyone out." It speeds out, and then he just stood there what the fuck is that? Comes in, just shoots up the place with an AK, and then says, "Get off your asses."
Yeah.
That was brilliant.
I also like the scenes with him and Hawkeye, which is a nice throwback to the comic books because there was, remember back in the day, it was only Captain America, Scarlet Witch, Quicksilver, and Hawkeye were in a team together. They were like the underpowered ones, and these guys hated each other. So I'm glad they had that in there. He's like, just give me an excuse. Like, no.
That
was great.
That one, I died just as much as I died when Thor, like the first comment from Thor early in the movie.
Yeah.
Like, that Hawkeye scene was gold because he just like no one would ever know.
No one would know. Last time I see him, he was under a car. You know, I tried to help him, but it was too late.
But yeah, then we had the big death scene and stuff where he saved Hawkeye and the little kid, and he died. And by the way, I'm gonna just say this now because that scene has been kind of ruined for me and Manny.
Oh yeah.
We're gonna go off a little bit here, but
when we first went to see the event, Age of Ultron, the death happens, and then we just hear this in the background.
So when we heard this,
we thought it was part of the movie.
Yeah, we thought it was like Quicksilver was moving so fast that the sound caught up to him. Yeah. No, that's not what's happening. Some old man was in front of us. I guess he fell asleep or was having a nightmare, and he's just like.
I say they killed his favorite character. Quicksilver fan.
So when we saw the movie again, we saw it as it was supposed to be. The scene was quiet and everything, but Manny and I were still chuckling because it was like,
we're just thinking about that old man in the left corner of the theater going.
And I'm like, is this guy gonna die during Avengers? This is serious right now. But again, this goes to prove that, to demonstrate. It's like people will die during these. Like Coulson died in the first one. And
he'll be back.
He is back. He is back. And
Quicksilver will be back on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is purgatory.
Yeah, but man, I love Scarlet Witch's reaction, man. She, like, that scream she did, and then the spire just exploded. I'm like, oh, shit.
That's some Dark Phoenix shit right there.
Oh, man.
That's kind of what she is now.
I didn't like the death scene because I wanted Ultron to like physically kill someone with his hands, but he did it from
that would have been a bit more interesting for sure.
That made him more evil because he couldn't even do it with himself. That's
but I'm assuming that would like increase the ratings for like from what was like a higher one, age rating wise, yeah.
Oh, well, yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah, you got to keep it PG-13 after all. And then during all that, obviously, because they were like, the island was already floating up because Ultron's whole thing was like, okay, I'm going to lift this island up to a certain point. It's filled with vibranium. I'm going to smash it down and just blow up the whole world, basically, and restart things again. They didn't know what to do with people. And then, luckily, Nick Fury shows up with a helicarrier. He's like, oh, yeah, we got
Shield smacking her.
I had this thing in cold storage. Hiding it under the Pentagon. Like it?
Yeah, that was another thing that I just was like, really, guys? Like, this is how you're going to do it? Like, I understand it's relevant. I understand why you did it, but
I don't think that's as much as a reach as other things, though.
It's not a reach, but like, it's one of those things that's like, it's written there like purely to like save ass. It's like the whole thing, the first one was like, hey, I accidentally like knew... So I programmed the shield, the staff to go through the thing and fill the portal off. It's like a nice way to tie off the loose end. And
yeah, I agree with that particular instance. But Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., you probably don't watch it. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. has been building up to that moment.
It really has, yeah.
Okay,
for the movie. Yeah, because like for the people that haven't been watching. Coulson's still alive. The Avengers don't know this, but Nick Fury does. And like Coulson kind of S.H.I.E.L.D., when it was disbanded, Coulson's been working by himself to rebuild everything. And he's been collecting assets for Nick Fury behind the scenes. And he's been talking to Maria Hill as well in the show. So all of the stuff and I think and Tony, you might agree or not, but I think Theta Protocol was the ship.
I was just about to ask you that. What was that Theta Protocol?
I think that's exactly what that was. Because they needed, because he had the one Quinjet or whatever the hell. And I think that they were trying to get that and work in order without people knowing about it.
Yeah, because before the movie, I thought Theta Protocol was something else. I thought it was like maybe they had like a bigger like meta human or whatever.
I thought that was Avengers Initiative actually, and I was wrong.
Yeah, because remember because he said like, okay, unleash the Avengers. Now we got to work on Theta Protocol. It's like, okay, so they're two separate things now.
Right.
So yeah, I think the helicarrier and all that was Theta Protocol, and yeah, that's how they got all the people off and all that. And obviously, they stopped Ultron. After all that, and then I loved the ending scene between him and Vision. That was like fantastic, man. Because Vision, this is the part I go away. He's like, humans are doomed, and Vision's like, yeah, they are. Like, he didn't even disagree with him. Like, yeah, they are doomed. And he's like, but the beauty in something isn't that it lasts. It's the beauty is that it ends. I
could have watched the whole movie of Paul Bettany and Spader talking to each other.
Yeah, just different philosophies and stuff.
Did you hear that, Ubisoft? Did you hear that, Activision? Did you hear that,
EA? But yeah, that was written. And yeah, he's like order, chaos, they're the same thing. They don't know it. But I guess Vision sees the good in humanity, and he wants to keep them around to see what they can do. Very different philosophy. And then he I guess ended Ultron there, but we don't really know.
I'm pretty sure he's done for.
You think so? I don't know, because I'm imagining him coming back in some form later. Like, here's the Annihilation Conquest.
I don't think Vision has the capacity to not speak in definite terms, basically.
Okay, I see what you mean, but
remember that Vision is also like 70-something% of Ultron anyway, and so hey, like there's no way that there's no way that they killed off Ultron altogether, since Vision is mostly Ultron anyway. Ultron protocols.
Yeah.
So who knows? Like
I'm not
ruling Ultron out.
I don't think they're gonna hang on to that as a plot device at all. Actually,
who knows?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with who knows. Actually, I'm expecting Ultron to show up in maybe 5-10 years or something. He'll be back somehow. He always comes back in the comics too. Always comes back.
Tony's gonna try to do it again.
Yeah,
maybe they'll erase the rest of him in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. in one episode or something.
Yeah, right. Yeah. You never know, but so yeah, and after that, obviously the Avengers split up, and it seems like it's more definitive now. Before, like, remember they split up at the end of the first one, but it seemed like, okay, we'll be back if some shit happens. Now I think, like you said, Hawkeye, he's like, you know what, I'm good, I'm done, I'm gonna go with my family now. And he told his wife is that Hulk, he had some sentience there. You notice that he definitely.
So then I'm assuming that Hulk understood what was going to happen, so he said, like, look, I can't do this no more. So I was thinking at first that maybe him and Bruce Banner came like on understanding. But
maybe.
Then,
I think he discontinued communication because Hulk knew that they would be or try to stay together. Actually.
Yeah.
And then also, as Hulk always says, all Hulk wants to do is be left alone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's true. So yeah, he went off grid. And then let's talk about this, because this is the scene. I'm like, oh, okay, this is cool. I hope this is the team now, because we saw the new Avengers. And by the way, actually before that, my biggest complaint about the movie. Here's my biggest complaint. Where the fuck was Falcon during the big fight? You saw War Machine show up. I'm like, Falcon, he's gonna show up. Nope, he didn't show up. Like, that was my good plan. I had to throw it out there. But yeah,
too many black people, Tony. There were too many black people there.
You're getting a little out of hand, buddy.
Jesus Christ. Yeah. Throwing like a third one, and is the Elba? Then Jesus Christ, it's like half of NWA just there. People might get scared. It's like, whoa, there's 4 black guys on screen at the same time. This isn't right. Let's put up a little bit. You watched Walking Dead, Tony. You know the rule.
I know the rule. Like, if they got 4 black people, one of them's gonna die by the end of the season. That's just how it always is. They got to keep the quota right. They don't want to, they can't bring the budget down. I actually heard that from McFarlane of all people. He's like, oh yeah, we couldn't make Wanda's boyfriend black because they'll bring the budget down. I'm like, that's crazy. I didn't know about that.
Yeah, her husband. Yeah, so they turned. What was it? Jason Wynn was his name?
No, not Jason Wynn. I forgot her boyfriend's name.
Yeah, I can't remember his name.
But yeah, they turned him white because the budget. It's stupid at Hollywood. So, but there's still 2 black Avengers now. Now we have Don Cheadle, like it's fucking Rhodey, Falcon, right? And Vision's not even a race. He's technically not even a gender. Scarlet Witch and headed up by Captain America because again, he's not giving up the war. He realizes I can't, I always need a reason to fight. So now he's leading this new team, which I hope consists of the core team in the next movies. Like, I know the other guys are going to show up, but I want to see these guys do some shit. Because that's the thing about Avengers in the books. You always get a new team every few issues, and it always keeps things fresh. So I want that for the movies. So yeah, let's talk about the future now. I guess that's how we can end this thing off. What do we expect for the Marvel Universe going forward?
Well, Tony, you've seen the scene.
Oh yeah,
you've seen the scene. Like,
that beatdown is on its way.
Yeah,
you got something done right, Tony. You do it yourself.
Yeah, you do it yourself. That was a hell of a. You don't even need a after credit scene after that. I was like, this is good. Yeah, obviously Thanos shows up, and actually, you know what? Before we talk about the future, I want to talk about that scene specifically. Where the last place we saw the Infinity Gauntlet was in Asgard. Who rules Asgard now?
There's a rumor that there's more than one.
Loki runs Asgard.
Loki runs Asgard, and who was Loki working for? Thanos.
Yeah.
Thanos probably walked right in, like, hey, now it's all yours.
As Anthony Hopkins is like, welcome, Thanos. Here's your glove. For you.
But then that begs the question, like, where was Odin and where's Heimdall? Those two are the two ones that I'm most concerned about, because either Heimdall's dead, because that's the only way that he would not have notified Odin in some way or form, and Odin must be in somewhere.
Yeah,
he's in the Odin sleep.
Yeah, he put him in the Odin sleep.
He's in Odin sleep.
Yeah.
No, he was.
Yeah, he was in Odin sleep. Remember, Loki is now Odin. He
probably never woke up. It was just Loki fucking with everyone. So.
Yeah, we established that. So yeah, I'm pretty sure Thanos didn't even have to break into Asgard. He was like, hey,
well, he didn't.
he just
unlocked. He just walked in. And just...
Yeah, because Loki was probably like, hey, go ahead, man. It's all yours. Do what you got to do.
I don't think
as long as I get to keep Asgard.
I don't think Heimdall's dead because he runs the Rainbow Bridge. So there'd be no way for Thor to go back and forth if he was dead.
That is true.
Hey, Kevin Feige already answered this question.
What did he say?
That was not Odin's vault. There are two different gloves.
Ooh.
Hmm?
You know what? You may be right because I think the first glove we saw had the stones already in it, didn't it?
It looked
and it was
like
bigger too.
I don't
remember. A lot bigger.
No, but this is straight from Kevin Feige. He said there are two different gloves. That was not Odin's vault that you see at the end.
I got you. Okay, good to know that. But yes, obviously they were like, yep, Thanos was like, I got to do this shit myself now. And you saw the 6 slots too. And now they have 4 of them. Which let's break that down. What do we have so far? We have the Mind Gem. And I'm calling them gems because that's what I'm used to. The Mind Gem, Power Gem, Space Gem, and
Sidorak Gem.
No, what is it? Time and Soul?
Time and Soul are the missing ones.
The missing ones, yeah.
Those are the missing ones. Time it could be interesting because they might have some weird time travel shit going on. But yeah, Time and Soul are the missing ones. So yeah, we have Mind, Space, Power.
Space, Power.
Can't believe we're blanking on the last one. Wait a minute, 4 of them.
Yeah, Mind, Space. Okay, the Tesseract is the Space one. Ether's. What's the Ether?
Yeah, what's the Ether? Which one is that?
Reality. That's the one.
Reality.
The Reality Gem, yeah.
Yeah, the Reality Gem. So yeah. So here's the question: what happens when you rip that thing out of Vision's head? Will that kill him?
Well, I don't know. Did Adam Warlock die after he pulled the Soul Gem out of his head?
No, I think that Vision will be incapacitated for a huge part of the first or second film. We're not going to have Vision in combat.
I also think that that Vision is the replacement Adam Warlock for that.
I don't know.
Even though Adam Warlock could still be in the movies, though he's not.
Adam Warlock could still be in the movies, but he has. But why would you introduce a totally new character into this situation when you already have essentially an installed Adam Warlock?
Well, the Soul Gem is still unaccounted for.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm hoping that they have
Adam Warlock's like, yo, man, it's on my head.
And then, and I feel like, and this is thinking way ahead. As it stands, I still feel like they only have 1 or 2 people that can even not even go toe to toe with Thanos, really, but Vision and maybe Scarlet Witch.
Yeah,
all the only ones that could possibly damage him at all. So
I don't think that Thanos' mind is that weak to be so susceptible to Scarlet Witch's powers.
No, I'm not. I don't think.
Not the mind powers.
Yeah, I'm not talking about the mind powers.
Remember, she has the ability to change probability fields.
I don't think
actual power.
I don't think.
But that's the thing, though. Like, yeah, they haven't established that yet in this universe.
Wait, hold on, Charles.
I'm just going by what they've established so far.
Hold on, Charles. How could she pose a threat to Thanos then if she doesn't have her reality powers?
Just her telekinesis, because with him, if he has the gems, I just imagine anybody that has to get up close to him is going to get demolished.
Oh yeah.
Other than Vision at this point.
Even without the damn gems, he's hard to touch.
Yeah, because like Captain America's shield is not going.
No, I'm sorry. He's one punch is over. It's over.
I don't think Iron Man can do much.
No.
A brawl with him and Hulk would be cool, but I think he'll handle him pretty good too.
Oh yeah.
So I think we need another Adam. I think we need an Adam Warlock.
Yeah, just for somebody to actually fight this guy, because even the Guardians of the Galaxy, they're not gonna fucking with him either. All 6 of those guys, nope. They're
even
the Thanos, man.
No, Drax kills him.
What if Drax? My roommate talking about this. Drax gets the other gauntlet and somehow gets takes the gems from him.
But then we've already seen like Thanos with like all 6, so like unless this is after Thanos has all 6, but then that like kind of defeats the whole purpose of Thanos having all 6. Like the whole point is that Thanos gets all 6 and then he wrecks shop. Well, like maybe they'll go down the route of what they did in the comics.
Yeah, it's a lot of places they could go, but yeah, I mean, going forward, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, obviously, they already established the Black Panther movie with Claw in Wakanda. They established, the new Avengers, obviously.
And Ragnarok.
Ragnarok, they established that. Captain America, the Civil War, they established that.
Miss Marvel.
Did they establish that in this movie?
I don't know.
No, but they actually said that Carol Danvers was supposed to make an appearance.
She was, yeah.
But they felt it distracted from everything else.
Yeah, and they didn't bring up the Inhumans either, so they didn't set that stuff
We
up.
get plenty of that every week right now.
We do, we really do. We get it in our faces now. They're going to go flat out call them Inhumans from this
show should just be called Inhumans at this point.
It really should. That's all they're doing.
Yeah, it's like now that Sky has like developed and everything. It's the half of the episodes are Inhuman in that city, and the other half is Coulson doing his thing.
Yeah, agents of Inhuman. I don't know, but yeah,
Coulson is Black Bolt. I'm sorry.
Yeah, right.
Oh, I'd stop watching if that ever happened.
But yeah, I mean, they definitely set up a lot of stuff, and I know Ant-Man is the technical end of Phase 2, but I still think this felt like the actual end of it. Like it's.
But I don't think Ant-Man is gonna feel like the end of it either. It doesn't look.
Well, it is. It technically is. That's what they said. So because
I know that. I'm saying it's not gonna feel like it though.
No,
it
because
doesn't look like it's gonna, unless they have some absolutely ridiculous after credit scene after Ant-Man. It just seems like it's in a weird spot.
It is, because I doubt it's going to be, like, I know they'll probably go like, oh yeah, that crazy shit happened in Africa with the Avengers or whatever. They'll mention that, but I think the movie's going to be more of a solo thing, kind of like Guardians was. Like Guardians set up a little bit, but it was mostly a solo movie. I think Ant-Man will be that, but they'll definitely reference some stuff. But I doubt they're going to be like, hey, by the way, Ant-Man, he has the Soul Jet. I don't think they're going to do anything crazy.
I don't know, man. They said that they've said in interviews that Ant-Man is going to change the Marvel Universe significantly.
Really?
From what we've seen in the trailers, I can't even fathom how the hell that would happen.
So it has to be a gem.
I'm thinking the time gem. The time gem would be the only thing that fits.
Charles, man, you stole what I was going to say. Okay, here's what's going to happen now. They're going to use the time gem. They go back in time and get the young Hank Pym into the modern age. They're going to use CG on Michael Douglas, make him look like he did in Wall Street.
Hey, how you doing?
The thing that will bother me on that end is that it'd be weird that another gem is on Earth without somebody knowing about it.
Yeah, but I don't know. Don't you think things are so chaotic on Earth? You know.
I don't know. We'll see.
And
We'll see
like
where
this,
Hank
and this
McKinnon is dropped
after,
into the lore.
and like this is where, like I said in my review, where things, well, where like, the cracks start to show. Like, if another time, or if another gem is on Earth, then it defeats the whole purpose of can't remember his name.
Yeah, you mean scattering them around and stuff?
Oh no, someone said that it is dangerous to keep two infinity gems in one place, and like
Right.
so the ether was found in a portal that can be accessed from Earth, and the Tesseract was on Earth, and now a third gem was on Earth. Like, really, guys, you guys did a terrible job of this.
Yeah.
You have the whole damn universe, Earth. No. So yeah,
But maybe
I
it
really
says
do
something
doubt
about
it.
Earth.
Earth is special. Well, Earth is that convergence point from towards the dark world, so maybe it has some significance.
Yeah, but I hope they don't bring up an Infinity Stone in Ant-Man. But
No.
you know, I just hope it sets up at least the Shield stuff, because that's what I'm really interested in now. Like, I want to know if Agents of Shield is going to address all this shit that happened, how that show's going to change now, because there's a lot of shit now. Like, is Shield now back like that, or are they still square?
I'm pretty sure it is, just because of some of the nuggets thrown in at the end of the last episode where he, you're not the director kind of thing, and you're not the director either. Maybe that was a nod at Nick Fury's back. But I think we'll get a definitive answer on the next episode if that ship will stay to protocol also, because whatever it is, that is about to happen, or that has already happened as far as we know. So I think we'll get a lot of answers in the next few episodes.
Definitely. All right, we're about to wrap this up. So yeah, this was, me personally, I was extremely satisfied with this movie. I'll still maintain that I like the first Avengers movie more, and I'm talking about not this is why, because that's the movie that we were all waiting for our entire lives, and it was just the culmination of it. You knew what to expect from this, but this was a better movie than the first one. I felt like it had a better structure to it, despite some of the cuts you could obviously see they did. It was definitely more, like character driven, because all this happened because of Tony Stark's decision. There wasn't like a big cosmic being like dictating all this shit, which I like.
Oh, there is. It's Thanos. Thanos.
Yeah, no, but he wasn't
dictating.
But he wasn't like, hey, Ultron, go do this. Like, it wasn't his decision.
Yeah, it's a lot of the things that happened were a result of Thanos existing, kind of, I guess, in the threat of the gems, because we wouldn't have Vision without that.
Yeah, and even Ultron to some, respects too.
Yeah, exactly. We wouldn't have Ultron.
Yeah, but the whole Ultron thing came out because of Tony's desire to make a safer world and not have a world with or have a world with armor around it. As he said. But yeah, definitely a stronger movie than the first one. I still like the first one more because, like I said, that was the first time you saw something like that. But yeah, definitely great, and it definitely sets up the whole universe, on a really interesting path. Any final thoughts, you guys, before we wrap up?
Nothing's better than Winter Soldier yet.
Hey, Winter Soldier's still like cream of the crop right there, but yeah, this is still the top 3 Marvel movies is Winter Soldier and then the 2 Avengers movies for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, agreed.
Charles, that's for me. What about
Guardians of the Galaxy? And
Guardians
I'm gonna say like Guardians was like with top 3. You have both Avengers and Winter Soldier and Guardians to choose from for top 3. So one of them has to lose out.
I've tied even before this movie. I tied the Avengers and Guardians of the Galaxy with each other. I enjoyed them. I tied the first Avengers with Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh yeah, I like them equally, but I can't have 2 at the same number.
So that means with me tying it, I'd put Avengers 2, Age of Ultron out of the top 3.
Okay, and the first Avengers then, right? That'll be in the top 3.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else? Final thoughts?
I thought it was brilliant. My reviews there. I have my thoughts. I'll watch it again and again and again.
Yes.
I didn't make the first mistake I did with the first Avengers and watched it in 3D. I watched it in 2D, and I will always watch it in 2D. Because 3D. Because some guy called Brian came back from the future and said that 3D was cancer. So I believe. So yeah, it's a fun movie, and this is what bugs me about DC movies sometimes. It's just they don't have this level of fun to them, And
Well, you notice like all the marketing for Batman Superman, that movie's just going to be dark. I don't imagine there's going to be a piece of levity in that movie.
It's
I don't
fine
think
being
so.
dark, but just don't. I don't want to rant about DC because people will get upset. But
Yeah, I love that it's a Marvel podcast. Essentially, we're shitting on DC, but I do have to say
I'm
this
not
though.
shitting on DC. Okay, hand in there. I loved Man of Steel. Like I thought it was one of the best DC movies out there. A lot better
Oh, yeah, I
than
agree with
most.
that.
Well, a lot better than the last Superman movie.
Oh, yeah, well,
Superman
Creeper
Returns.
Man.
Yeah, if you have to
Yeah.
compare it to Superman Returns, then yeah.
A lot better. So like, it's definitely in the top. Like one of my more favorite Superman movies of all time, including the animated ones. And Batman movies, I thought they were okay. Good, not great, but still, I do like DC. It's just that I feel like when you have something that takes itself a bit too seriously, it starts being really dull and being uninteresting. And it's like I don't care anymore. It's like you guys are so far up your own ass that it starts being fun for me now. It's like, okay, you want to brood, that's fine, but he wants to brood too, and then they want to brood as well, and then what you have is just a bunch of guys brooding about, and it's like I don't watch that. I want to watch people flying around doing stupid shit. Like this is what drew me to comics in the first place, and by throwing out what drew me into you in the first place is going to throw me out. If that makes sense.
yeah, I hear you. By the way,
That's my
I
only
do
issue
need to
with
say,
DC.
I do need to say this though about the Fantastic Four, because that's supposed to be a darker movie that had more levity in it than the freaking Batman Superman trailer. You know, even that had fun moments in it. But so DC, watch Marvel more closely. Just do what they do. You know, come on, just a little bit of fun. It's okay to be dark. Just balance it out. How are we getting to talking about DC? Anyway, thank you for watching and listening. Make sure to follow the Coalition at thecoalition.com. We got all the awesome podcasts, the co-op. We got Nights at the Turntable, Baby in the Beard. All that good stuff. Make sure to follow Throwdown at Throwdown on Twitter, all that other stuff. Links available down there and all that good jazz. Once again, I'll show Tony Polanco and I was joined by I'm so used to shit.
Night.
Yeah, Night. Yeah, DC Night. I got to turn the filter on, right? All right. Anyway, Emilio Lopez,
Later, guys.
Gary Swaby,
See ya.
Ryan Munjoma.
That end credit scene gets me every time.
Yes.
It's on the glove, and it's like it's time. It's like, oh yes.
Charles Singletary
Adios.
and Chris Seeley.
I gotta go see it again.
Yes. All right. Later, people.
Later, guys.
I'm actually going to watch the trailer again.